If you've done any research into making money online, chances are you've come across dropshipping as an option. In this episode, we'll explore the world of dropshipping and go into the pros and cons of using this method as a revenue stream for your big lap. What's up, it's Rose from Big Lap Bible, and in this episode, I'll show you how you can make money on the road with dropshipping. But first, just a big thank you for joining me. I'd really love it if you considered subscribing, give us a like, comment, review, all that good stuff. It really does help us grow and bring more awesome content your way. Now, first things first, what even is dropshipping? Well, essentially, dropshipping is an e-commerce business model for which you don't actually hold any stock yourself. You promote products, usually on your own website, and when you sell them, the manufacturer or supplier just sends them direct to your customer. Now, dropshipping has really grown in interest over the past few years with the rise of people looking to make income from home, and the likes of platforms like Shopify making it super easy for even non-tech savvy people to set up an e-commerce platform in a matter of hours. In recent times, though, dropshipping has been getting a bit of a bad rap and has been trying to reinvent itself, but we'll go into that later on in the video. So, why is dropshipping a good business model for travelers? Well, it could be a good business model for you as a traveler because you never actually have to handle any stock yourself. The manufacturing and delivery of products is done by a third party, so you don't have to worry too much about facilitating any of that. What's more, it could actually help you make a full-time income with minimal work, meaning you can explore more. And who doesn't want that? So how do you get started then? Well, luckily, dropshipping has a relatively low cost to entry compared to some avenues of setting up a business. Since you don't have to buy any inventory, you don't have to have as much startup capital, which makes this method super appealing to people looking to start and build something whilst they're saving up for a trip, like you. There are a couple of things that you need to get started with dropshipping, and we'll go into more detail about each one of these things, but the four basic things you need are a website or a platform to sell your products, a product, a supplier, and a marketing plan. So firstly, you'll generally need a website to sell your products. There are a number of other ways to do this. You could just do an Instagram page and things like that, but as a general rule, you'll need a website. And the number one go-to for dropshippers is Shopify. Shopify allows even non-tech savvy people to set up a website and quickly add products. It really is intuitive to use and is designed to help business owners create e-commerce sites without any tech work at all. Now, there's a link in the description to get a free trial of Shopify if you're interested in checking it out too. Next, you'll need a product. Now, with dropshipping, there are a number of ways to actually choose a product to sell. Usually, dropshippers aren't too fussy about what they promote. Okay, let's back up a little bit there. They do care what they promote, but the product isn't the reason they start the business. They haven't found a gap in the market they want to fill. They haven't found a solution to a problem they want to solve. Instead, finding a product is usually based on how likely that product is to sell. It could be a dog toy or a water bottle, but the reason for starting the business isn't the product itself. So how do you actually decide on a product you want to sell? Well, there are a couple of different ways, and depending on who you talk to, they might tell you that one way is better than another. So let's just break it down. Now, the first thing to think about is what's trending. Now, by looking at what's trending on popular sites like Wish or Kickstarter, or using something like Google Trends, you'll be able to give yourself a good idea of the types of things that are currently selling. This method is really good if you're happy to reinvent yourself and your brand from time to time. If you choose a product that's trending today, it might not necessarily be popular tomorrow or next year. Something to know here is that many dropshippers actually ride the wave of their product until it's no longer hot, and then they repeat the process again. Some dropshippers have several product shops running simultaneously too. And a lot of them actually just have single product sites, so they're just selling one product per website, which they can cull when that product isn't working. That said, if you're a dropshipper who wants to build a brand with a number of different products within one niche, picking the newest hot product might not be the way to go. Next, a good way to find products is to actually niche down. Instead of using Google Trends to find trending products, you can use it to find trending niches, so you can then find cool products within that niche. And once you've got your niche, all you need to do is head to Google and search your niche plus products to see what pops up. Google always shows the most relevant results first, so it's a good way of seeing the types of thing that are popular within that niche. Finding products in this way also helps you when it comes to marketing because you know who you should be targeting with your ads. You can also Google profitable dropshipping niches too, but if you come across a blog telling you the specific products that you should dropship, it might mean that those products become oversaturated since many people looking for products would have already read the same blog that you just did, so just be aware of that. Another cool way of finding products is hitting sites like Facebook and social shopping sites like Pinterest. Since most dropshippers and most e-commerce businesses as a whole for that matter use social media to promote their products, you can use them for research for your products too. By scrolling Pinterest, you'll come across a number of ads, and in fact, even the organic posts are a good indicator of the types of products that are selling too. You can actually check out product videos on Facebook by going to the videos section. And here's a handy tip. If you search free shipping, you'll come across a huge number of videos for products, and usually they're dropshipping products or e-commerce products. Free shipping is actually a really good way to get people to buy your products, but that's a story for a different day. And finally, you can actually find products that you'll use yourself. As a traveler, finding products that you'll use is a great idea because a huge portion of travelers these days use social media to try to build a personal brand. And if you build an audience who watches what you're up to and is interested in the products that you use, then you've also got an audience for those products too. But secondary to that, even if you're not building a personal brand, by selecting products you'll use, you'll actually give yourself a number of opportunities to actually gain some great collateral in the form of videos and images for your marketing campaigns. Now, further to actually figuring out the type of product you want to sell, it's good to have some criteria. Many people suggest a price point of over $20 and under $100, for example. Now, the reason being is that you won't make much of a profit if you sell something for under $20 and the product becomes less of an impulse purchase after $100. Other things like keeping size down to reduce the cost of freight and picking products with limited moving parts so they don't malfunction are also top of many a dropshipper's criteria list. Okay, let's move on. We could actually go on for hours about how to find products, but hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea of the types of things you can do to find a product yourself. If you want a video that goes a bit more in depth about finding dropshipping products, just comment below and we'll add that to our list. Now, if you're listening to this thinking, if I've found something on Google, how does that mean I've actually found a product that I can sell? You're not alone if you think that. When I first entered the world of dropshipping, I was so confused because people were talking about finding products, but it felt like I was actually no closer to being able to sell the product that I'd found. Sure, I'd found a cool gadget on Google, but how did that actually mean I could sell it? Well, that's the next part of the equation, the supplier. Next, you'll need a supplier. Once you find a product that you want to sell, you need to find a supplier who can make that product. Because with dropshipping, you don't buy a whole load of inventory, it's usually not a case of taking a design to a manufacturer and asking them to make it. It's more like finding a supplier who already makes the product you want to sell. One of the biggest dropshipping platforms is AliExpress. You can literally find hundreds of thousands of suppliers on the platform, which allows you to connect with manufacturers who make a similar product to the one that you want to sell. There are usually multiple manufacturers selling the same product, but it's good to know that not all suppliers are created equal. Be sure to check things like how many sales they've had, how long they've been in business, their rating, etc. And again, there's a bit of an art to finding suppliers and too much to put in one video. But again, if you want to learn about that side of things, drop a comment below. Okay, the final thing is your marketing plan. Your marketing plan is probably, well, arguably the most important part of this whole thing. You can have all the other three elements ironed out, but without a way to actually market the product, you won't be able to sell anything. Facebook ads have long been a favorite of dropshippers, but things like Pinterest ads and influencer marketing have become really popular too. Again, not something I'll go into here because we'll talk in a different video about running ads and all those kinds of things. So that's dropshipping in a nutshell, but I want to go over the pros and cons of this business model so you can actually decide whether it's the right thing for you to take on the road. So firstly, let's look at the pros of dropshipping. Of all the business models, dropshipping would probably have to be the lowest startup cost. You can easily set up a website with Shopify on a free trial, and the main initial cost then comes from your marketing budget. 2, you don't have to worry about inventory. Taking a product-based business on the road usually comes with some challenges when it comes to holding stock and shipping it out. No one wants proximity to the post box to be something that determines where they go on their trip, do they? With dropshipping, that restriction is removed because you don't actually hold any stock, nor do you organize shipping. Sounds great. Number 3, there's less risk. Since you're not investing in any inventory, you can decide to change course if you decide that a certain product isn't working. And that's not something you can do easily if you do have a warehouse full or a van full of product. Now, while those pros make dropshipping really appealing, there are some pretty serious cons that you need to be aware of. Let's look at them now. Number 1 is long shipping times. Now, one of the biggest issues that arises for dropshippers is the lengthy shipping times. Since most people use AliExpress, shipping from China can take weeks, if not months. And while you can do everything you can to highlight your shipping terms and conditions in your shipping policy, there will still be people who either don't buy because of your long shipping times or will request a chargeback from the credit card provider for non-delivery. And you don't get that money back. Once it's ordered from the supplier, it's ordered. The second thing is reliance on external suppliers. Now, dealing with suppliers overseas can be a positive experience, but it can also be a not so positive experience. If you found yourself a good, reliable supplier, you may be able to reduce the effects of this con. But essentially, your reliance on external suppliers means that you're always at the mercy of their stock levels, you're always relying on them to ship your products on time or at all, and you always have to trust them to maintain quality assurance. You also have to deal with non-branded packaging with Chinese import labels, and while that's not the end of the world, many Australian consumers aren't really impressed by this. That said, many dropshippers don't actually rely on repeat business at all, so as long as your customer is somewhat happy with the product, that might be enough for you. The third thing is dropshipping gives you lower profit margins. Since you're not buying in bulk, you don't have access to wholesale pricing, so you pay more per unit, and that eats into your bottom line. This means that you'll have to sell more compared to if you had bought inventory in advance to make the same amount of money. So, is dropshipping a good way to make money on the road? Well, you tell me. For some, this method will be a great way to make money on the road, and for others, not so much. If you have the ability to find great products and you find a supplier you can actually rely on, it could be very lucrative. If you have the ability to keep your business lean, run Facebook ads yourself, and quickly adapt, it might be for you. On the other hand, if you don't get lucky in finding the right product, you have supplier issues and you're not confident in handling the marketing, might not be the right path. Luckily though, it doesn't take much of an investment to figure out whether it's actually going to work for you. Usually you'll need about $1,000 per product you want to test. Now, I say $1,000 because you need to allocate some funds to your marketing budget. And generally, you need to run ads for a good month before they optimize and find their groove. Now, I usually tell clients that their first month is a test when it comes to ads. Now, that's not to say that you won't make any money in your first month, but you might also lose a bit too. As a final note, I just want to propose a solution to some of the dropshipping cons which might make this business option more viable for you. It's something that many of the top dropshippers are actually implementing these days. Ready? Da-da-da! It's using dropshipping as a product testing tool. Well, what does that mean? Well, essentially, you give a product a month or so to test its popularity and how well it sells. If it sells well, you actually order inventory of that product, which you can ship to Australia or any other country for that matter, and create a more traditional style e-commerce business. You may remember that in the pros list, I actually said that it's difficult to run an e-commerce business on the road who wants to be stuck with a whole load of inventory. Well, there's actually a solution to that too. We'll do another video on this, but you actually don't have to store and ship products yourself if you have an e-commerce brand. Big Black Bible, for example, ships from a warehouse in Sydney, and I never actually touched the stock. Alright, I'm curious, how many of you think you want to give dropshipping a go? And how many of you have even tried it? Comment below, or if you're listening on podcast, head over to IGTV and let me know. And as always, make sure you subscribe.